In the last part of the risk assessment training series, we are going to discuss about the documenting the risk, triggers of the risk assessment, and the risk communication. Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel HSE Consultant. My name is Engineer Abdul Wahab. As you know, we are having a series of HSE training, and the topic of that series is risk assessment. In this part of the risk assessment training, we are going to discuss about the documenting risk, triggers, are the situations that is required a new risk assessment, are the review of the risk assessment, and many more. Let's see what are the learning outcomes of this presentation. The first learning outcome of this presentation is documenting risk. The second, we will discuss about the triggers of the risk assessment. The third one is risk communication. Let's see what is the documenting risk. Whenever we are having a process of risk assessment, we are going to document all the process of that risk assessment, and that format is called risk assessment format. In that format, we are having many things that should be included. First of all, the title of risk assessment, the context of the risk assessment, the team of the risk assessment, their names, qualification, the date of the risk assessment, the next review date of the risk assessment, and what is the activity or process or operation which we are going to assess. What are the hazards that are available there on the workplace? What about the exposure to those hazards by the workforce or the frequency of exposure? What are the existing controls that are available at our site in order to control the risk level? What is the consequences of the risk? And what is the likelihood or the probability of the risk? What is the risk rank or the score of the risk by combining the consequences and severity risk? What are the additional control measures that are required in order to reduce the risk level? Who is going to be responsible for the implementation of those control measures that is going to reduce the risk level from high to low or acceptable level? What is the timeline that is required to implement the control measures, and on which basis that timeline is going to be provided? What is the residual risk level, residual risk score, and residual risk rank? So all these things should be mentioned in the format of risk assessment. There is another format that is called risk register. In that one, we will discuss about the case number of that risk assessment. What is the location of that activity, process, or operation or plant that we are going to assess? What are the activities? What are the operations that are happening there? What are the hazards that are available in that workplace? Current state of risk level that is available there. What are the additional control measures that are available there? What is the completion date of all the control measures that we are requested? What will be the future risk level? So all these things will be the part of risk register, and it will be kept on our plant and operation in order to review it in the future, or in order to assess about the risk level at any moment of the time. So this is all about how we are going to document the risk assessment and the risk register and all the finding of risk assessment team. The next is, what are the triggers of risk assessment? Why we are required a new risk assessment? Or what is the items or situations in which we have to revise our risk assessment? First of all, organizational mergers or expansion. If our organization is going to be merged with another organization, or we are going to expand our organization, we must go for a reassessment of all the risk and hazards that are available on our workplace. If we are going to modify our facilities, our methods, or we are going to produce a new product, or we are going to give the new services, so of course for all that one, our methods are going to be changed, our raw materials are going to be changed, our parameters are going to be changed, our machinery is going to be changed. So for all that one, we must have a new risk assessment on our facility. If there is some change in management or the hierarchy of our organization, so we are going to have the risk assessment once again. If there is some non-routine activities on our workplace, if there is some procurement issues that we are having on our area, so we are going to have the risk assessment again. If there is a third party interaction in our work area, so we are going to have another risk assessment. The non-routine activities, for example, if we are working on our plant and we are going to have a non-routine activity, in order we are going to change the design, or we are going to bypass some equipment, or we are going to have a new equipment in our system. So these all are non-routine activities. So for all these one, we must have a new risk assessment. If we are going to have the high risk activities on our system, so we will have the new risk assessment. The number of accident and incident is increasing, so we must go for a new risk assessment on our workplace. If there is some changes in the government law, in local laws, or international law that we are comply in our system, so we must go for the new risk assessment. So these all are the triggers of the risk assessment, and due to these one, we are going to have the new risk assessment on our workplace. Let's see what is called the risk assessment communication. During the process of risk assessment, we have to communicate at each step of the risk assessment with the stakeholder, with the staff, in order to discuss with them about the activities and the hazards that they are facing on daily basis, with our employees from higher management up to the lower management, in order to discuss about their perspective about the workplace hazards and associated risks and the level. We are going to discuss the risk assessment on all level of management. We are going to discuss the risk assessment with our contractors, investors, vendors. We are going to discuss the risk assessment, or we are going to send a copy of risk assessment to the insurance company in order to have the low premiums, and we are going to keep the copy of risk assessment for the future studies. So this is all about the risk communication. In all stages of the risk assessment, we are going to discuss the risk assessment process with all this list of our employees, stakeholders, and everybody. So the communication of the risk assessment will be started from the context of the risk assessment up to the end of the risk assessment at each and every stage. So that's all about this part of the risk assessment. And this is the end of the risk assessment training series. Hope you guys have enjoyed this risk assessment training series. If you like, kindly share and subscribe my YouTube channel to have more interesting and knowledgeable videos for you in the future. Thank you so much, and bye bye for the next time.